The middle of the night, 220 girls are sleeping in a dormitory in Gilgil, Nakuru County, and 6 of their classmates are pouring paraffin on a mattress near the exit door. These girls light a match, and within minutes, the building is up in flames. 16 girls never wake up. 79 others were injured. Some jumping from windows, some unable to breathe through the smoke, some trapped because the emergency exit had been locked. Now here's the part that should make every single one of us uncomfortable. This was not random. This was not an accident. And this was not the only school. By the time we got to early June 2026, over 30 schools across Kenya had been shut down indefinitely. Alliance High, Mang'u, Lenana, Kangaru, Nakuru girls, Mukumu girls. Schools your parents talk about. Schools that are supposed to represent the best of the Kenyan education system. What's actually going on? Today we're going deeper, starting with the recent Utumishi girls inferno. Let's dive right in. Utumishi is not just any school. It's linked to the National Police Service. Most of the students there are daughters of police officers. This is a school that is supposed to represent discipline, order, and safety. On the night of May 27th, going into the 28th, CCTV footage captured 6 students entering the Melina Waithera dormitory at approximately 12:10 a.m. They pour paraffin on a mattress right next to the main exit. They light it and then they walk out. And here is where it gets interesting. They lock the door from outside. The fire spreads fast. The smoke was suffocating. Girls are running up and down, disoriented, terrified. But they try getting to the exit and they find that the door is locked from outside. One survivor would later tell reporters that she was badly injured on her leg and lower back. She couldn't pass through the fire, so eventually had to jump through a window. 8 students, all minors, they were eventually arrested. That number would later rise to 9. The Ministry of Education dissolved the school's entire board of management for failing to comply with fire safety regulations. How do you get to a place where teenage girls plan and execute something like this? What kind of pressure, desperation, or despair leads a child to that decision? You see, after Utumishi, something cracked open. The Kenya Red Cross reported responding to 37 school fire incidents since the start of 2026 alone, and the 5th school fire after Utumishi Academy came just days later at Tarakwa High School in Bomet County. Look at the geography of this. In Nairobi County, we got Mang'u High, Lenana, Alliance High, State House Girls, Upper Hill, Langata, St. George's Girls, Moi Girls Nairobi. Rift Valley, we got Naivasha Girls, Nakuru Girls, Loreto Girls, Limuru, Moi Forces Academy, Lanet, Njoro Girls, and of course Utumishi Girls. Now moving on to Western Kenya, we got Mukumu Girls, Ingotse Boys, Sironga Girls. Mount Kenya region, we got Kangaru, Sacred Heart Kyeni, Siakago, Kiamuringa, Nyangwa Boys, Nyangaia Girls. Coast region, we got Kenyatta High, Mwatate. We got Moi Boys, which is in Voi, Maho Girls, and many, many more. They're the small schools that went on strike, and such incidences did not get to mainstream media, so we didn't get coverage for that. So the point is, this is not a problem. This is not a Nairobi problem. This is not a Rift Valley problem. This is a whole of Kenya problem. By early June, the Ministry of Education acknowledged receiving reports of unrest affecting 204 senior schools. Although the CS argued that 98% of schools were still stable, the picture on the ground told a different story, with some estimates suggesting that close to 100 schools had experienced varying forms of disruption since the second term began. We got fires, walkouts, strikes, vandalism, students being sent home without notice. The Ministry of Education's response, they said less than 1% of schools are affected. We are not declaring an early break. Now this is where it gets complicated and where I think most of the public conversation has been too shallow. The easy answer is bad kids making bad choices, but education experts, senators, journalists, and psychologists are all saying the same thing. This cannot be reduced to indiscipline. There are structural forces at work here and they've been building up for years. Let me break them down. Number 1, examination anxiety. Second term is where Form 4 students sit for their mock KCSE examinations. This is the rehearsal for the national exam that determines their entire future. When schools suddenly move exam dates without notice or pile on academic pressure without pastoral support, this pressure builds up and the results are explosive, to say the least, and some cases have led to loss of life, as we saw recently. Experts say this is the most immediate trigger, school after school. Number 2, Food and living conditions. This comes up everywhere. Students are complaining about inadequate food, both quality and quantity. Poor sanitation as well. Moving on to reason number 3, overcrowding. And for this one, a policy created it. The government's 100% transition policy, which ensured every child who completes primary school goes to secondary, was a good idea in principle, but it pumped enormous numbers of students into national and extra county schools that were not built to handle them. Dormitories designed for 150 students now hold like what, 220? Resources designed for 500 students now stretched across over 800. Number 4, the copycat effect. Now here's something chilling. Students were using smuggled phones to coordinate unrest across schools. One incident inspires another. It's something like the fear of missing out here really, but this is bad. This is the fear of missing out for burning things down. This is terrible really. Once the pattern started, it became self-reinforcing. Okay, last reason, number 5, we have a breakdown in communication. See, when students have no trusted channels to raise genuine concerns, what happens? Frustration goes underground, it ferments, and eventually it explodes. As one commentator put it, when learners do not have trusted ways to express concerns, frustration can move underground. Putting all the 5 reasons above together, you don't really have a discipline problem. It is more of a systematic failure. System has failed the students. To their credit, the government moved. The Ministry of Education under CS Julius Ogamba and then PS Julius Bitok, they launched a nationwide safety audit. They increased school inspections. They urged schools to strengthen counseling services and discipline systems. The Utumishi School Board was dissolved, of course. Teachers were disciplined, 9 students were charged. The case is still in court. Parliament debated the crisis. Some MPs began calling for a fundamental review of the boarding school model and asking whether locking thousands of teenagers away from their families for months at a time under immediate academic pressure with inadequate facilities is really working out. DNA testing was used to identify the victims. 16 lives, 16 families, dude. 16 futures that are just gone. These were just children, man. And when all this was happening, the ministry kept insisting schools remain open. The term continues. Is that resilience or is that denial? The Kenya's boarding school system was built for a different era. It was built when resources were scarce, when secondary education was a privilege, when the KCSE exam was the only ladder up. Some of that is still true, of course. But today, unfortunately, that model is cracking. Silence is being mistaken for discipline. Locked doors are mistaken for safety and students are left carrying the weight. Here's what must change. There should be fire safety measures that actually protect. Not locked exits, not dorms packed like matchboxes and, door locks that someone can easily throw away the key. Another one, there should be real counseling, not just one counselor coming in once every term, and we're talking about a real professional, a real psychologist who can get to the kids. Lastly, above all, students need channels to speak, to be heard, and to see action, because when legitimate voices are ignored, illegitimate ones do take over.